Ooh, hello, ladies. We already have 13 people. Hi. All right, so what I'm going to ask everybody to do, we're 1 minute early, but I love that you've all jumped on. So just take a quick minute and look at the bottom left hand of the screen and mute for me, because I hear lots of music going. So look at the bottom of your screen and go ahead and hit mute. Perfect. All right, there we go. Awesome. So I love software. All right, we still have a couple people not on mute. So just as a quick reminder, bottom left-hand corner, there's a little mute button. I don't think I can mute you directly, so you have to do it for yourself, please. Oh my, awesome, no worries. I love it. This is, I love Zoom. I love this software, but yeah, it's a little bit of like a, it lets us all come in, and then we just have to make sure that everything works the way that I would like. How's everybody doing? So like I said, as a quick reminder, just go ahead and mute your screen. You can bring up a chat box. This over a little bit. Perfect. Reading my lips, awesome. And can everybody see me okay? Like I said, at the bottom of your screen, there's a little button that'll say chat. So you can hit that, and then a little chat box should come up for you over on the side of your screen. Can't hear anything. Can you hear me? Say I see you. I hear some people, so go ahead, and if you guys mute you on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, if you just kind of hover underneath there. Let's see. I gotta test my audio to be able to, okay, yeah, great. So if you're checking your audio on your end, I can see my little microphone moving. So as far as I know, my audio is working, but give me some either thumbs up or yes that you can hear me. So we've got yes, got it done. Okay, everything's fine, perfect. We see you and hear you, perfect, lovely. Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to be here with you. Love it. So cool. As we just kind of allow everybody to come in, and we'll just take care of these little technical difficulties, the masculine side, right? And then we'll be able to go into the feminine side, which is the flow. So love your ladies' patience. Anybody who's new that's jumping on, I can see you. I can see we've got 43 people on here. I love it. Thank you for showing up. I acknowledge you, ladies, for showing up today. I've got some really, really juicy stuff, some really amazing invitations for you today, too. So we can hear you, we can see you. Beautiful. Thank you, Diana. You're beautiful as well. I can't see you, but I can feel you. Let's see. There are 2 numbers. Oh, yeah, and then go ahead and turn off your video. Let me see if I can do that. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can maybe try to mess around with on here. I invite you to not click around just because it is shifting. Cool. So down at the bottom of your left-hand screen, you'll see the little microphone. And dropping video. Cool. So see the microphone down at the bottom and just click on it, and you should see a red slash. Somebody's having fun over there. Go ahead and mute yourself. You guys all have to do it. That's the one thing with this, that I can't mute all of you. I wish that I could. So just check the bottom of your screen and mute, and so you'll see a little slash mark down through the little microphone thing, and it'll say mute. Awesome. I can hear you guys laughing, so somebody's not muted. Which is perfect. If you don't mute yourself, then that's cool, but feel free to just hold your questions until the end. It would be great. Great, we have a finally hear you. Awesome. Love you ladies too. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is the wonderful thing about these meetings. I can't do everything. which would be great. Let me see. I'm just playing around real quick. Okay. Riot, I'm so happy you're doing this. Awesome. Thank you. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for hosting this. Natalia, you're welcome. Do we have a birthday in the house? That's awesome. Well, happy birthday, Stephanie, it looks like. Awesome. Great. I see you guys raising your hands. That's wonderful. I'm going to ask everybody to just hold everything until the end. We are going to do a Q&A. So if your video pops up, I can turn off the video, but then just the same thing down at the bottom. Make sure you hit it, and there should be a red slash that goes through it so that you can turn off the video, so then there's not any interruptions. So that would be super helpful if you ladies could do that for me. That helps me on this end. So let me see here. And everybody, let's see, I'm on the main video camera, I think, right? Give a couple yeses or thumbs up or something like that, that you guys can see me. Perfect. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. And we'll, yes, yes, yes. Yay, love it. And I can see all of your chats. So just as a quick reminder for anybody that's new, if you hover down at the bottom, please don't hit anything else. Just hit a little microphone that says mute. See a little red slash mark that goes through it. That way we can't hear you, but you guys can still hear me. The video, please make sure that that also has a red slash over it. Otherwise, it'll kind of interrupt this flow, and then I'll have to stop it and then turn off your video. So that helps me, and that helps everybody have a really enjoyable experience. So thank you for that. Beautiful. So it looks like we have a lot of people in the room right now. So love it. So I'm going to get started. One, I want to just again acknowledge all of you ladies for showing up today. A couple little logistics things. I love being in the moment with all of you, right? I swear, if for all of you that watch my Instagram lives, if it wasn't for the cutoff mark of 1 hour, I may keep going because I love being in this space and really connecting with you energetically. And so please just make sure that your video is off. Let's see. And I should be pinned as the main video, so I don't know why it keeps coming in. So aside from that, I'm going to do my absolute best to keep track of time. The last time that I did this, it was about 2 hours. And the reason for that is because today I'm giving you ladies some really solid techniques. We'll get into all of that stuff. And then I also want to leave it open for Q&A at the end. There's some really fun invitations, some really fun bonuses and all of that stuff as well. So I invite you to stay until the end so that you can hear all of that and then get to the Q&A. So my goal is 2 hours. Right? I thought it was going to be an hour last time I did it, and then it literally, like I said, just with doing all the work and with being present with you and doing questions, it ended up turning into be 2 hours. So I just want to kind of set that at the bar and really do my best with that. So of course, if you have to leave, I totally understand. There will be a replay. So everybody who's registered will definitely be getting an email to watch the replay. So aside from that, I appreciate you being here, and let's get started. Hang on, let me just double check. I don't hear anything. So check your audio on your end, not the mute button. That should have you just be muted for me. So down on the bottom, there's a little microphone icon, and just make sure that that has a red slash through it. I feel like I'm doing sign language for the people who can't hear right now. Love you ladies, you're amazing. But check your audio on your side. I get that if anybody can't hear me, that doesn't make any sense right now. Namaste. Thanks, Karina. Awesome. And hi from Sweden. Oh, I lived in Sweden for 2 years when I was like 8 years old. So hi from Sweden. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to get started. I prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you ladies because I geek out on PowerPoint. And it just helps me show all the really wonderful information. So let me go ahead and bring that up for you. Okay, beautiful. And we're gonna hit this. And so now I cannot see your chat. There we go. Now I can. Sorry, give me 2 seconds while I just bring this up. So now I can see your ladies' chats. So can everybody see me in the screen as well as Reviving Radiance? Yes, beautiful. Do you see the chat box by chance too? Or is that should only be on my side, but I just want to double check. Is the chat box showing up on the screen, or is it just me and just the PowerPoint? No chat box. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Awesome. Love it. Just you and PowerPoint. Awesome. Okay, so welcome, ladies. This is Reviving Radiance. And I'm really excited that you're here, actually, because as many ladies as I work with, Spirit has really called me to dive in deeper with working more with the feminine and supporting ladies around that. So I'm especially excited that you're here, because I believe also that women connect with each other for really specific and very powerful, special reasons. And I think, and I believe that you're here because you can relate to a lot of the things that I'm going to share with you today, and then also give you some really wonderful techniques and tools to help shift the things that you're probably feeling are going on with you, right? Again, I invite you to stay until the very end. There's lots of really fun invitations at the end as well, and some really deep dive techniques. So let me just check the time. Great. Can you guys, I think we'd be able to see her. You guys can see me though, yeah? If you click on either the video or something like that, you guys should be able to see. Oops. I can see new viewers coming in. I see you. Great. Awesome. Beautiful. Okay. So, as I was mentioning, awesome. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So you're most likely here, right? Because you've been struggling to let go and really move on from memories, maybe the emotional drain of past relationships. Some of those relationships may be toxic, right? And really, so just that exhaustion of what they can cause within you. Make sure, you guys, if you're new to joining, down at the bottom, feel free to click your mute button just so that no noise comes in. That would be super helpful. Thank you. I love you. So aside from all that, they could be narcissistic. They could be those controlling relationships, the just overbearing ones. Or it could have just been a relationship that you're still struggling to let go of really deep heartache, right? But either way, it's stopping you from moving forward, right? So if that's resonating with you, maybe you're actually not single, maybe you're with somebody new right now, and yet the patterns or different belief systems are potentially coming in and creeping in to then shift that new relationship to be like your last one, right? Maybe that's where you're at right now. But either way, maybe you're just sort of feeling like not excited about love anymore, right? And yet you want that. You want to be able to find your soulmate. You want to be able to connect, and yet you're exhausted, and there's just all this, how do I find that? How do I attract? How do I stop attracting the same, right? And not bring it into your current relationships, and how do you actually really attract what you want, right? I love this old 50s photos. It's like, I see it every time and I just laugh my ass off, because I've been there and I know what it feels like to just get knocked out. Like, I call it fun killer, right? Like, love can just not always feel like fun, and it makes you feel like you fainted on a hot day when you're trying to be all inspired by love, and it just knocks you to the ground, right? So I totally get that. I felt like this photo was kind of I always try to put humor into anything. So maybe you can relate to that. And in that relationship that maybe you're in, right, you keep getting hit with those triggers. like I said, and that you're maybe bringing those into this current relationship, and it's making it harder for you to really experience those deeper levels of intimacy with your partner now, right? Maybe you're also in that phase of you're like, okay, I want to just stop holding back. I want to tap into my feminine. I want to really just like harness that badass babe energy, stop holding back, but I have no idea where to start. I don't know what to do, right? How do I find my deeper purpose and attract the love that I want? How do I balance that? How do I tap into my feminine, right? So if all of those things are relating or resonating with you, you are what I love calling cycle breakers. You're my badass babes, right? And you're ready to finally break through those relationship blocks, right? So if any of these on this list are a check of like an F yes for you, that you want to get out of that toxic loop, you want to get off that emotional roller coaster that's going round and round and round again, seems like it's playing like a record in your mind, that you also want to just confidently straighten your beautiful crown, step into that divine feminine essence that you know that you are, that your soul is calling you forth to every single day. You want to step into that next level of you. I see you. I feel you. I was there. You want to attract your soulmate, the one that actually makes you feel sexy and safe and, God, acknowledged, finally, maybe, right? Or remind you of the one that you are with, right? To remind that one that you're with of who you are, that intimacy that you want to create together and even get to the next level of creating, right? Just reminding them that you're that badass babe, to step into that version, like I said, that your soul is calling you to. I'm getting yeses in the chat box. So amazing. Welcome, badass babes. You're cycle breakers. You're supposed to be here. Welcome. And by the end of this webinar, right, it's my mission to have you have a clear path on how that's possible for you, how to get into that next level of your reinvention. Because I believe that we are constantly reinventing ourselves if we're up to that game, if we're up to being that cycle breaker and living the life of a badass babe. You're constantly in reinvention. You're constantly growing. So by the end of this, that's my mission to you. So I hope you stay until the very end. Because let me tell you, I can absolutely relate, right? I have been exactly where you are. And to be honest, to be real, it's a daily thing that sometimes I still struggle with. I have to remind myself constantly, right, of releasing old patterns and stepping into that next level of reinvention, right? But it gets quicker and faster. And yet at the same time, where I was attracting series, one after the next, of unhealthy, toxic relationships. I wasn't connected to myself. I needed to leave. I was in the entertainment industry. I didn't feel like I was me. I didn't feel like I was connected to my heart. So I left everything after a near-death experience that just shattered my whole world, literal divine intervention, and I picked up everything and I moved to Sedona, Arizona for 3 years. And I'm half there and half here. And it was one of the best experiences for me, because as I kept attracting these relationships, I finally had to look within and say, all right, I'm the common denominator, right? It got so painful that I was like, I don't want to deal with this pain anymore. Not every single one of them was toxic, but man, a lot of them. And literally the last 5, one after the next, were almost identical and then progressively worse. And finally, that last one was just, I'm done. I'm done with this. I need to find out what this is. I need to find out why I'm attracting this, because I know I'm not the only one, but I'm so frustrated. And I wasn't happy and I didn't feel good and I wasn't getting the love that I want. I didn't feel like I was attracting soulmates. This is not soulmates. This is not how love was supposed to be. Not in my mind, not in my heart, and not what spirit was telling me. And I needed those answers. So I did whatever it took. I went to transformational seminars. I got certifications. I became a transformational junkie, right? And loving every minute of it, so that I could discover what those patterns were and shift them within myself so that I never had to feel that pain again. So that I could actually cultivate and attract the relationships that I want, whether it's romantic, whether it's business, whether it's friendships, all of them. How you do one relationship is how you do all of them. You ladies have probably heard me say that if you've seen me at all. So I combined what I've learned on understanding human behavior, psychology, understanding the science of inner transformation on a subconscious level. And I've combined that with spirituality and just taken everything together to really look at what those shifts are, because that was honestly the best thing that ever happened to me. I had to go through all of that so that maybe I would reach that point of pain so that then I would actually do something about it. So I don't regret it. Not one bit of it. And I thank all of those past partners because they've gotten me to where I am today. And they were that negative catalyst, right? And so I absolutely relate to where you're at right now, because I know what it's also doing in your own life and how you don't feel like you have that energy to show up with creating your passion and your purpose. Maybe you don't even know what that is. And you're so unclear, and yet you can feel it in your heart. Because I could. So I know if you're anything like me, again, you're in the right place. Okay? So, like I said, I'm so excited that you're here. And I know what this is like. Because one of the best lessons I ever learned was that the relationship that I have with myself, hearts, not that. Relationship that I had with myself sets the tone for every other relationship. Romantic, friendship, my relationship with spirit, my relationship with my body as a woman, my relationship with my masculine, feminine balance, my relationship with money, my relationship with my business. My relationship with myself sets the tone for all of those. And I discovered what I needed to shift in order to make all of those flourish. Because, like I mentioned, how you do one relationship is how we do them all. And I had to find that pattern and then shift it. So with that, a little bit of just kind of understanding the subconscious, right? Because everything comes down to the beliefs and patterns that we have of our behavior, right? And we develop these patterns and these habits at such an early age, right? It's the subconscious mind. This is Dr. Lipton. I'm going to read directly from this because it's so powerful. The subconscious mind, and again, I want to just make a quick connection, right? That our mind is connected with our heart, right? But the subconscious mind is almost the computer program. So when that shifts, our heart can be in alignment with that, and our spirit can be in alignment with that, because the subconscious mind, which is basically, like I said, the supercomputer downloaded with a database of programmed behaviors. Programmed behaviors. They're not yours. Most of which that we acquire when we reach the age of 6. Your mind isn't even developed enough to know what you're supposed to be uploading and what you're not supposed to be uploading, right? And so we look around us and we get all of these patterns and these programs and we download them into our software, and our unconscious mind is running us on automatic pilot 95% of the time. So being a conscious lifestylist is really shifting that and bringing that to awareness, right? So that then we're not on autopilot. Because if we're on autopilot, then we're not in conscious creation of what we're attracting into our lives. And that's just the truth when it comes to the science of it, right? Before we even get into the heart of it, right? So by that time, right, this pattern has created this belief that's lodged so deeply within our subconscious that it's become this habitual pattern. And I don't know if you've ever tried to quit anything that is a habit, like an actual habit. It's difficult. You have to do something new so many times in order to then run over the old habit, right? But it's difficult. It doesn't just shift. But if you don't know where to shift and you don't know where to access, then how are you ever going to shift that pattern within, right? But it becomes this habitual thing going over and over and over again, attracting the same over and over and over again, and you don't even know why in all your relationships. So I like to say that true transformation happens within the subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. So as much as I am a meditation instructor, I am a huge advocate of meditation, and it does a lot to shift your consciousness, but it shifts your conscious mind. And so there's an element of needing to go into the subconscious mind to really make the shifts of those habitual patterns, right? It can't be done within the conscious mind. So how do you know, right? How do you shift something if you don't know where to look, right? Where do you find it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Carl Jung is one of my favorites. And like I was mentioning, this blind spot, right? And bringing that in. He talks about until we make the unconscious, that blind spot, like when you're driving in a car, right? And you can't see, you look over your shoulder, but you can't see because the actual back end of the car is in the way. That's a blind spot. You can't see through that. So we're actually taking what's behind there and we're bringing it conscious in front of you so that you can see it in a really gentle way to direct the life, right? Because it will direct your life, and then we call it fate, or we call it spirit, or we call it like, oh, I guess that was a sign. Maybe I'm not supposed to be with that person, or, right? Like whatever, we call it chance, happenstance, right? And yet we are the creators of our own reality. And you can be that so that you can have the life that you really want. Great, I got an amazing on that. So the difference, once you bring that blind spot in so that you can see it, right? Another example I'll give briefly is when you go, if you love art, when you go to a museum, right? And you look at this beautiful painting, right? Like imagine this painting of this ocean and the rocks with Carl Jung, and you can see, look, all the details. You can see the ocean and the waves and how they're splashing on the rocks because you're outside of it. And now imagine as if you're inside this painting. You can only see what's presently around you. Maybe you're the one sitting on that rock and you can only see what's the rock that you're sitting on, a little bit of waves. Can you see behind you? No. Can you see the whole sky behind you and those mountains that would clearly be behind you? No, because you're looking at it from a different perspective. So when you can bring that unconscious, when you can bring the unconscious into your conscious awareness, from there, you have choice. You don't have to feel like you don't know what to do or you don't know how to shift something. You can clearly see, right? I know we're all ladies here. I like shoe shopping too, right? You've probably heard me say, right? We like options. Who wants to go into a shoe store and you only have one pair of shoes to buy that was determined by someone else? And that's the shoe. And what if they're hideous? You're not going to be stoked. They are not sexy shoes. They're not your like go out at night and feel like an amazing badass goddess shoes. They're like loafers or something. That's my personal, right? And so you only have one choice that was decided for you. And so when you can do this, then you actually bring options to yourself. Then go barefoot. Exactly. Get grounded. Go barefoot, get into your body, but still only going barefoot is still only one option. I want track shoes so that I can run faster. I want heels so that I can feel like an amazing goddess when I go out, right? I put on a different pair of shoes. It gives me a different feeling. It gives me a different personality almost, right? You can't tell me that going barefoot, you're going to get cut. But I totally get that because yes, we want to ground. We want to ground into the earth. And so that has its benefits, but that's only one option. I enjoy choices. And I know as a woman, you enjoy choices, right? Okay. So are you ready to know what your choices are? Are you ready to know at least one really solid thing? I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 on this. Hopefully you're already getting these like light bulb moments of like, oh, cool. And yes, this is awesome. And this is resonating, right? But would you want to know what sets up what your choices are, right? And that you've been almost unconsciously behaving in ways that you don't know that those are your choices, right? I know the photos are hilarious. They make me laugh, to be honest. I picked them out with my mom because she loves create. She's very visual. And she's like, wouldn't this be awesome? And so she found this one. So props to mama. She's like, it just looks like We just laughed by putting this together. So I want to give mad props to my mama on this, because she really showed up with some amazing photos that really kind of like hit the point, right? Wouldn't you say? Awesome. Love the era. Exactly. We're going back in time on photos only, not the concept of the 50s of when women were just supposed to be, you know, in the kitchen and making dinner and all that stuff, right? We're in a completely new era right now, right? But we want the essence of the woman, right? Of those days, maybe like the classic, the really classy woman that we've had back then. And yet at the same time, showing up and being a goddess, being financially independent, right? So we're coming into this new era of balance of that, right? So what I want to share with you is your choices. I want to give you your shoe options that you've been choosing that you don't even know you've been choosing, right? The unconscious choices, because without this piece, it's so easy to get lost in all of the stories that are disempowering, right? So yes, I'm cooking. Awesome. Ain't nothing wrong with a woman who cooks. Not saying that. No. I'm not personally Betty Crocker, but so that being said, right? You all probably know what a story is, right? It's that thing that just keeps playing and playing and playing over and keeps attracting the same types of relationships, right? It's a story. It's part of that unconscious behavior that we've just been reading the same chapter over and over again, right? So I'm going to give you your choices. Are you ready though, right? Do you look like that girl of, oh my God, please give me my choices because I need to know how to get out of the loop, right? Can I get some yeses on that? Because I don't want to give this to you until you're absolutely sure that you're ready for your choices. With solid capital hell yes and awesome. Okay, cool. This is also the #1 reason that you keep attracting the same kind of relationships. That slide, I know you'll love. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay, awesome. So I forgot there was that slide in. All right, we're getting to it. Okay. It's the drama triangle. Because what else would it be called? The soap opera of life, right? The soap opera story of life. This was actually created by Stephen Cartman. It was a social experiment that he did, right? It's the villain, the victim, and the hero, and this is literally the foundation for every story. This is the foundation for the early programming that you got by watching Cinderella and all the Disney cartoons, right, of what we think love is supposed to be, right? The Snow White, the, oh gosh, Sleeping Beauty. Come on, she's in a coma, and she has to like wait for her prince to wake her up, and then who's the hero, and so then the villain is a dragon that took her, right? So all of this stuff is set up in this villain, victim, hero. So then that puts her, Sleeping Beauty, as the victim, right? This is every single story. You can go and watch any movie, the hero's journey, all of this stuff. Everything surrounds this simple diagram, right? It is literally the soap opera of life. So now, I actually took this when this was given to me by one of my mentors, just the triangle. And I took it, and for a month straight, I meditated with it because I said something's missing, right? There's an element of this. And so I actually expanded it, and then I renamed it the Power Pyramid, right? Because also the drama triangle sounds a little bit negative, and I don't want to keep reinventing the drama, right? I want to reinvent power, right? So I found 3 different aspects of this, right? And that's something that actually is talked about in my Reviving Radiance Mastery course that I have not heard any other person talk about since. And I've dove into this work, and this is at least the foundation to just give you like a bird's eye pinpointed view on how the unconscious behavior has been setting up your story, every chapter of your story, since that 6 years old. This is part of the pattern and the program. And you may even be doing that in your mind right now, right? Like thinking about your different circumstances and different situations and different relationships that you've been in, right? And so whether it's family, whether it's romantic, whether it's your work relationship, your relationship with yourself, right? So the question, as you're thinking of all of these things, is who are you being? Which one are you being? These are your shoe options. you're either being, right? And this is where we get to have compassion too, right? Because this is an unconscious pattern that the foundation of it was laid in at such an early age, right? So like I always say, awesome, we've already got people claiming who they've been. Awesome, I love that. That's truthful. This is where you get to just be honest with yourself, because these are things that they're not yours anyway, right? But we take them on as unconscious beliefs, right? And we guess all of them. Exactly. Thank you, right? Exactly. So what you're going to start to see is that you're not one of them all the time, right? Maybe you show up being the victim one day, and then maybe you're trying to be the hero another day, right? Maybe you're the villain one day, right? We've all had that moment of like, yep, I am a bitch today. We're just truthful, right? Maybe it's once a month. Not blaming it on the month, right? Not blaming it on the cycle or anything like that. And that's the whole point, is to see who are you being in different circumstances? Who are you being in different relationships? Who are others trying to get you to be then for them, right? Because there's a whole different, like I said, this totally goes into the mastery course section, but there's different perspectives. Because you could be being a hero, but then to somebody else, you might be a villain to them. Like I said, it's every person has a perspective, because each person has their own triangle. So there's about 3 more elements of this that I go into in the mastery course that really helps kind of like bring it full circle. But this is the foundation of what you need to know. So you're not going to be one all the time, but you're probably one the majority of the time, right? I'm just going to do the call out and say it on myself too. I had to recognize for myself, I was attracting all of those toxic relationships because I was still playing the victim role. Because a victim would attract then a villain, being the narcissist, the abuser, right? And then I got to have compassion on myself, because I'm like, okay, this is a learned pattern. And if it's learned, that means it can be unlearned. But I had to first get compassionate and recognize what was happening, right? I was playing the victim. Probably not the only time in relationships. And that's just truthful. But that didn't make me feel good. That didn't make me feel like a badass goddess. That didn't make me feel like I could conquer the world. If I kept that belief system, then I would bring that into, what do we know? How you do one relationship is how you do all the relationships, right? So there's one primary one that you've been being for a long time that you don't even know that you've been being. And it could show up, it could get triggered at different times, or maybe you do know it, right? There's 1,000 different reasons, and that has to do with part of the conditioning, right? And everybody's different. Everybody has a different reason why, right? But this is like the foundational piece where, if nothing else from this webinar, if you're like, holy crap, now I can start like applying this and seeing it everywhere, right? Because we've all played it. We've all played the villain. We've all played the hero. We've all played the victim, the creature of the Black Lagoon. We watch movies on this stuff. And then we get programmed again because we're watching the movies. We watch the Disney movies. I don't want to be Sleeping Beauty. I don't, right? I don't even want to be the chick in the Twilight. She lost her lover, and then she's like depressed forever. You know, I'm going to give some really cheesy examples, right? I love the Harry Potter, like Hermione. She's like, F that. I'm not being a victim. I love her character. So we make these characters. I love that in society right now we're bringing more women. We've been positioning the female archetype as the victim. And we've all, as women, we've all been unconsciously listening to it, to be really real. And now I love that we're shifting and we're having more empowered female roles that are stepping into, maybe not like, right? If they're the hero, that's one thing, because then there still has to be a victim, right? And so there's still some balance, but at least we're not stepping in to the victim. We're showing an archetype of what's possible for who we can step into to remind us on a subconscious level. That to me is amazing. We're on that precipice. And that's why I'm so empowered by Reviving Radiance, because that's the archetype shift that we're all feeling like we need to get into, but we're like, crap, how do we get there? Right? I didn't know before either. I was like, I don't want to be the victim. I don't want to be the damsel in distress that's running away from a creature of a black lagoon. I don't even want to be the creature of the black lagoon. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to play. I don't want to be in this soap opera story. I was on a soap opera, right? It's great for that. I don't want to apply it to my real life, right? Agreed. We've got yeses. Want out. Exactly. You want out of this loop. But we got to recognize it first. We got to have compassion on it second. And then we got to have the resources on how to get out of the loop third, right? And that's what I'm excited to share with you. I'm going to give you a couple points today, right? Right? Okay, so like I said, the goal is not to be any of these. The goal is to be the observer. So when you can be the observer of which one you've been playing without judgment, you can just have compassion, you can sit there and watch, right? Now you get to see it everywhere. You can step into that little cross mark right in the middle, which is the observer position, right? So when we're saying, oh my God, I need to get out of the loop, what you're actually doing is you're stepping in to the center. That's another reference for stepping in to the center. Go into the heart and be the observer of your own behaviors with people, how their behaviors are with you, right? And trust me, you will see this everywhere now. You're going to go this weekend and watch a movie and you're going to be like, oh, there's like, now I see all of them, right? And none of them are empowering, really. The center is the empowerment position. Because if you think about it, if you have to be a hero for somebody, then that means that you have to make someone else a victim. You have to put somebody else down energetically or verbally, intentionally, whatever, right? And then you have to actually then make somebody a villain, which means you have to like judge them and make them bad and wrong. So being the hero isn't always the best place too. Most people think that. They're like, I want to be the hero. But then, like I just said, you have to make somebody a victim and then you have to make somebody a villain. And that to me is not empowering either. Not to them. You may feel temporarily empowering for you, but that's not true empowerment. And it's short lasting, right? Perfect. Can we, here, I'm going to turn off your camera here, babe, because that automatically went on. Cool. You guys can still see me, yeah? Great. I'm going to continue. It's making perfect sense. Yes, you can see me. Great. Awesome. Okay. And like so here, you may start remembering, right? Different times when this has showed up. You probably would be getting like a lot of them. So I love that. I'm scared. Okay. So speaking of heroes, and speaking of stepping into, it's easier first to step into a hero role in order to then get yourself into the center, right? Because sometimes, let's just be honest, and I've worked with a lot of clients with this that have struggled with this, and honestly, it was a little bit of a struggle for me at first as well. Playing the victim, I was like, how am I supposed to go to the victim to the center, right? It was a pattern. It was still triggering my pain body. I didn't have, like, I didn't feel, it was such a loop. And it was like pulling on my heartstrings with it, right? I didn't know how to just get into the center, right? And so sometimes you have to give yourself some confidence. You have to give yourself, put yourself first in the hero role, right? Not to then make other people villain or victim, but so that you can then bring in that confidence, so then it's easier to step into the center, right? Would that be fair to say? So it's not intentionally making anybody else anything, but you're helping yourself a little first. It's like a little stepping stone, right? So speaking of hero archetypes, Wonder Woman, and who doesn't love that? And obviously an iconic shift and an archetype shift that our society is just so amazingly accepting of. I love that movie. It was phenomenal, right? Beautiful actress. So what I'm going to share with you today, and this is where we get into a little bit of the technique, is what I call the confidence easy button, because I want you to feel confidence that's literally as easy as pushing a button. As easy as pushing a button, that then you can use that for any of the negative emotions, any of those memories that are creeping up potentially, or just any time that you're like, I kind of feel like a victim right now, right? So would that be helpful for you to learn that today? Would that be, and we've got so much clarity, awesome, and love Wonder Woman. If I could give you a confidence button that was literally as easy as pushing a button, right? Thank you, Marie. She's like, gosh, you're amazing. I appreciate that. Reflection back to you, Baba. I see you. Awesome. Give it to me, baby. Okay. So one of the most powerful ways to tap into the subconscious, and there's going to be another exercise actually after this as well. So I'm going to kind of like smooth into it as well, just to give you a pre-frame of what we're doing. One of the most powerful ways to shift within the subconscious is to do visualization, deep visualization. It's going to be a little bit of a hypnotic, not like the weird hypnosis that people do on stage and try to make people do weird stuff. It's like, some people think that it's a meditation, right? But you're basically, I'm going to get you so interconnected with yourself that you're fully present, right? And that then things are easier to show up for you and easier to shift, right? So with that, it's kind of like a meditation, but it's meditation done properly with then accessing the subconscious mind. So would that be fair? And would that be okay to do with you today? Is everybody game for that? Yes, great. So what I'm going to have you do is, and making sure that you're all on mute, which you already all are. Let's do it. Heck yes, awesome. Okay. I love all of your excitement. I can feel you. I can literally feel all of you. So I want you to, if you're on a cell phone, please put that down and make sure that it's on speaker so that I can hear you. Not your mute button, but your speaker, or your headphones are in. And if you're on a computer, I just want you to like put anything, any notes down that you're taking, anything at all, and just let yourself be in this moment so that you can be hands-free and just be in this present moment. Perfect. Okay. So now what I want you to do is go ahead and close your eyes. Like I mentioned, we're going to do 2 different exercises in one. So the first one is going to lead into the second one. The second one's going to be reframing reality. So we're going to take your confidence button. We're going to give you the confidence, create the button, and then we're going to go into another memory that will be easier once you're already in there, right? So another memory of maybe something that you would like to shift today, right? So in this moment, sort of think of something that maybe a time that somebody really did hurt you and you want to be able to let go of that emotion, right? Whatever that first thing is, just trust that the first memory that's coming up for you, that's what your spirit is wanting to guide you to then release today. It could be really long time ago. It could be really recent. There's no right or wrong answer of it, right? So it could be with anyone. It doesn't have to be, it could be any relationship basically, right? Something that you would like to shift an emotion within you to then shift that reality so that it's not emotionally draining you anymore, right? So go ahead and just, as your eyes are closed, relaxing into your body, getting comfortable, allowing your hands to be free. And just for a moment, tap into your body. It's a really exciting aspect of these deep visualizations and tapping into your subconscious is that your subconscious mind listens to and sees your fantasies as reality. So when we're reframing this reality and creating the confidence within this new reality, your subconscious mind registers it as actual reality. So go ahead and just give an intuitive, or I'm going to listen intuitively. I just want to ask permission before we do this, right? Because that's something that's really important to me. And so if you can just energetically send me whatever your answer is, for if I have your permission and your trust today to then be making this shift consciously and unconsciously for you today, to move you into that next level, and just sort of energetically say what the answer is. And if that answer is yes, then I invite you to dive deeper into your body. If the answer is no, real quick, that's absolutely all good. You're totally fine to just leave your eyes open and listen to this. So if you're up for playing the game, allowing yourself to start to hear your heartbeat. Feel the cells of your body flowing through. Feel any maybe tingling sensations going on anywhere in your body as you're sensing and bringing your awareness to be more present to your body. And so with this first one, feeling really relaxed, imagining as if there's 1,000 crystals, beautiful crystals filling up the inside of your body and all of their amazing radiant energy, and allowing their weight, the heaviness to pull you even deeper into the presence of your physical body now. Feeling really safe, knowing that this is a cocoon, that I'm here with you, and that you're good and safe. And just as easily as you can see a fantasy in your mind, I want you to remember a time, seeing it as if you're watching a movie in your mind. Remember a time where you have felt really confident, like something where you just felt so successful, so happy, so empowered. And if you can't think of a memory, imagine what that feeling would be like. Imagine your heart racing with excitement. Imagine a smile coming to your face, or maybe even just a little smirk as you're trying to hold in all of that powerful energy, all of your light, all of that confidence, all that self-love, self-assuredness. What memory was that for you? When was that? Or what do you imagine that being? What do you imagine yourself doing that would give you that feeling and that sensation? I want you to hold that vision or that fantasy in your mind's eye. And now I want you to bring yourself easily and effortlessly into that vision. So as you were seeing it in front of you like a movie, step as if you're stepping into the screen and stepping into your body inside that screen, so that now you can see this experience through your own eyes. And just see what's around you. And then hear what's around you. And feel how you are feeling, or how you would be feeling. And as you're looking through your own eyes in this moment, I want you to take your right hand and your thumb and your index finger. And when I tell you, not yet, but when I tell you, I want you to grab on just with your thumb and your index finger of your right hand. I want you to grab onto your left pinky. Not yet, but when I tell you to, so just get your hands in that position. And so again, bringing your awareness and concentration back to seeing through your own eyes in that moment and seeing what's around you. And now I want you to see what's around you and make all of the colors that you see even brighter. Make the greens greener, the blues bluer. Everything becomes so vibrant. Create that in your mind's eye, that vibrancy of all of those colors. Great. And now with what you're hearing, I want you to make all the sounds even louder. What was happening? Any sounds at all that were happening in that moment, amplify those sounds. And now with your emotions. What were you feeling at that time, or what are you feeling in this fantasy? Are they cheering you on? How is that making you feel? You feel like you could just conquer the world? Bring back that essence. Is your face smiling, or your lips just beaming with excitement and adrenaline and confidence in that empowered state? Whether it's a memory or what you're going to be doing in the future, whatever that is, fully step into those emotions and amplify all of those, make them bigger, make them even stronger. And as you continue to build those, I want you to take your pinky and those fingers and then press your pinky. Just push those, the thumb and your index finger, and just hold it as tightly as you can. And continue to see through your own eyes all of those bright colors, hearing all of those sounds and making them even louder, and those feelings, everything that you felt in that moment. I want you to amplify the F out of it. How excited are you? How empowered do you feel? Continue to let that build, amplifying whatever those feelings are for you, as you then gently release your pinky and allow all of those emotions to just build a little bit more. And then now slowly come back and relax down. Coming back into the sense of your body. You can already have released your pinky. And just go ahead and place your arms by your sides. And now I want you to bring up another memory. And the same thing, I want you to see this memory outside of you as if you're watching a movie. And this time, this memory is something with someone who either hurt you or some emotional state that you would really, some memory that had an emotional state that you would really love to move on from. Something that's just been feeling like you're stuck with moving on from it because it's just keeps opening the wounds of your heart. It could be an argument even. It could be something as simple as maybe you got into an argument with somebody and it's not as emotionally deep as being heartbroken. Maybe it's just something just doesn't feel right now and it's unsettled and it's just not feeling good. And you would like to create that past reality and reframe that so that then you can move on into a greater level of confidence. So you can allow those emotions to shift through. Doesn't mean you're giving up the lessons. We'll get to that. I hear some of you overachievers. What about the lessons there? We'll get there. Just think of whatever emotion that is. I'll give you another 2 seconds. Whatever memory you would like to shift today. So bringing up that memory in your mind's eye, again, as if you're seeing it, as if it's a movie in front of you. Do not step into seeing it through your own eyes. That's very important for this particular exercise. See it in front of you. You're watching yourself and whoever else is in this memory, or whatever else is in this memory. Perfect. And so now, seeing this memory, go ahead and imagine yourself hovering above this memory. And seeing it down below you. And so what emotions are coming up with this that you've already been in touch with? What's that sticky? The sticky emotions that don't feel good. And where are they in your body? Where are they showing up in your body? Go ahead and bring your awareness to where they are right now. And I want you to imagine those emotions as if they're energy, the consciousness of these emotions. Imagine the energy of these emotions easily and effortlessly moving outside of your body, just in front of you. So if it's in your stomach, just imagine feeling this energy coming out from you. And so that you can almost see it in front of you or sense it in front of you. Don't worry if you can't see things clearly. Get in touch with the sense of the energy. Some people see clearly, some people have a strength of feeling more clearly. There is no right and wrong. There is no doing it perfectly or not perfectly. Everything is your experience, and trusting that you're in the driver position of this experience. And so now that that emotion is in front of you, ask it if it would be all right if we could have a conversation. And then if it says yes, ask it now what it would like to share with you about this past memory. Maybe what lesson needed to be learned. What awareness would it like to share with you? And just trusting that the first thing that's coming up for you is the answer. Whatever that is, don't judge it. Just allow yourself to witness it. And so now, thinking of that memory and thinking of this emotion that's in front of you, I want you to go ahead and grab onto your pinky, bringing your hands gently together. And notice how your emotions are shifting now. Notice what's different. And so with that awareness, go ahead and bring yourself looking down at the memory below you. Now go ahead and bring yourself down into the body while holding onto your pinky, bringing yourself down into the body within that memory to see through your own eyes, seeing the experience, seeing whoever is in that memory, and continue holding onto your pinky as your emotions begin to shift. Or notice what is different with your emotional state. Go ahead and release your pinky. And hold yourself in that space of seeing through your own eyes of this memory. Go ahead and now pull yourself back to the awareness of your body, out of this memory, back to the awareness of your body in this present moment, back to where you're sitting in this present moment, feeling the tinglings in your body, feeling the tinglings maybe in your legs. Allowing all of those crystals, imagine them just easily and effortlessly dissolving or lifting up out of your body so that you can now feel lighter, coming back to your natural physical state, feeling comfortable, centered. And on 3, go ahead and gently open your eyes. 1, 2, 3. Just kind of give yourself a moment to get back into now and this reality. And if any of you would like to share in the comments how that was for you, what was different, what showed up, feeling lighter, awesome. Was there anything different now when you think about that past memory? What's different? When you think about maybe if it's the person or whatever that situation was that you brought up. I cried, awesome, that's natural. It's a relation, acceptance, great. Powerful thing was almost like, was that an orgasm? Yes, like an orgasm, awesome. Less attachment to it, beautiful. I feel better, I feel stronger, great. Whoa, nobody's like reading this, awesome. I feel free and not so angry. I feel stronger, release some guilt. Ooh, ooh, I can feel that, awesome. I learned how to remain calm, see where others are coming from. Great, so you got different perspective. With different perspective, maybe there's more compassion there, right? It's the only time that we can get different, but that's the only time we can get compassion is when we can pull ourselves out of the equation, right? And see from the other side. No attachment to the emotion, not attached to the emotion. Awesome. And so it's not to, I want to make this super clear too. You're not disregarding any emotion, right? You've been experiencing the emotion. You've been carrying it for a really long time. And so that's why we pull the emotion out and we let the emotion have a voice so that it can share with you what lesson, what message, whatever it's been stuck in there trying to share, right? So we didn't let the emotion kind of get off the hook, right? We didn't let you get off the hook of not understanding what the purpose of it being there was, right? But once we get the lesson, once we get the understanding, well, now we need to shift that within the subconscious so that we don't keep carrying it, so that it doesn't keep affecting us. We don't keep making a story around it that's not empowering, right? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clear. I don't want anybody to think that like, oh, we're just not attached to any of the emotions. Like, no, but that's what you've been carrying, right? Not saying that you are the person who said not attached to the emotion, but just that's what triggered for me to share with you. So I wanted to make that clarification. So some more comments, bringing power of the good feeling and self into the bad memory. Beautiful. Feeling relaxed and acceptance, released. Hello. Release, revive to reinvent. You got it. Feel more calm. Absolutely. Great. Understanding. Great. I cried too. Awesome. You are powerful and confident. Beautiful. And noticing too that the tears, right? I know that you guys already know the whole like, oh, if you cry, then maybe does that mean I'm weak, right? Like that's almost the conversation in the vortex field of what it means to then emotionally express yourself with tears, right? That's why guys don't do it, because they'll be looked at as weak, right? If you cry, you're like a girl. And like we've made it as this disempowering thing. And yet emotion is energy in motion. You ladies probably already know that. And so having an actual release, the physical release of that energy in motion, it's then going to have a physiological response. And yet we judge it. And so having an actual physiological response, that's the, right? Like, you know how we all cry and then we feel better? Like that's the release. So for you, if you've been holding on to it so tightly, right, and making it mean all these different things, and the energy's been built up and built up and built up, and all this story and different elements of it, and conversations and judgments, and then that energy needs to be released. And then you get back into your heart, and that's what crying is. So I love, you didn't cry, that's totally fine. But I want to let you know that if you did, like, that's so beautiful and so normal and amazing. Awesome. Great. We've got like 41 comments. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Cried with joy. Exactly. Awesome. Tears are cleaners. Yes, exactly. Definitely cried. Laugh out loud. Awesome. Great. We love that. We want to also be able to support our men in being able to have this sort of energetic release, right? And not make it bad and wrong, and not like make it mean that, oh, it's just a girly thing. It's like, this is energy being released. Like if you need to do that, awesome. We need to help our guys shift into recognizing that they can have emotions. They don't have to express their emotions in whatever a masculine way would be, right? So the same goes for us as women, right? All of you who are really high driver creators, go-getters, right? That's me too. Sometimes if I'm running more masculine, right, then I'm like, there's this thought of like, okay, well now we can't cry in this moment because that would be weak, right? And yet at the same time, we need to allow ourselves that element of our feminine and allow the masculine side to express that as well, right? So I hope that makes sense. Awesome. I love that. It's one of my most favorite techniques, and you probably experienced, right? Like it feels a little bit like a meditation, and yet we're allowing the subconscious to answer the questions. We're allowing the emotions to answer the questions. You're in a full space of safety to really let yourself be guided through this, right? You can totally do it yourself. I would highly recommend using this for other experiences. Sometimes, you know, it is easier having somebody else guide you through it. You know, yes, I love meditating on my own. And then sometimes it's almost like, I use the analogy, like going, like sometimes I like driving my car, and then sometimes I just want to go in an Uber and be driven, because then you can get to fully relax into it, right? So if this helped, you can use this for other memories. And it's a portion of one of the techniques that I love doing to help really shift within the subconscious, right? It's that sort of deep hypnotic sort of, it's beyond meditation. It's not really, right? Great question. So the question is just curious for future reference, what does the pinky and the finger holding do or represent? Beautiful question. So it's what we call an anchor. So I got you in touch with confidence, right? A memory of confidence, but now I need to store that somewhere in the body to then experience it on another time, right? When I want to experience it, right? Or when you would want to then experience that level of confidence. So this is your button, literally confidence at the tap of a button, because now your body has a cellular memory for that emotion, and then where it is on the where it is on the body, what button or where that button is on your body, right? So it doesn't have to be your pinky. It's just sort of like an easy place that I use, and it's not something that you sort of do every day, right? I often use the example, like when I get nervous, right? I do this with my earrings sometimes. And so I could place an anchor of an emotional state of confidence up here, but then so when I get nervous, right, that then I'm now installing confidence. So instead of feeling nervous and doing this habitual sort of physical behavior, right, that then I would anchor confidence and the feeling of confidence here. So by the time I started doing this, then that emotional state of confidence would come back in, right? And then I wouldn't be so nervous, right? So I hope that makes sense. Your energy is so amazing. Awesome. Thank you, Johanna. Oh, clever. Love that. Yes. So those are just some really fun techniques and stuff like that. So was that helpful? Did that help? Did you get an actual, like, I know I got so many of your confidence or some of your comments, but just like, give me a couple yeses of like, yes, you really felt like that distinct shift. Yes. Yes. I feel amazing. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Capitals. So helpful. Perfect. Feeling wondrous. Yes. Bold. Great. Okay, cool. So I just want to get super clear that you're having a positive experience with it, right? And if anything came up for you, sometimes people, you're so welcome. My heart feels, yes, felt my heart open. Oh, that's amazing. I don't remember what I was going to say now. It's not that big of a deal, but confidence button is such a gift. Exactly. Perfect. Oh, right. So I don't, like, some people sometimes ask me afterwards, like, am I doing it right? Well, what if I didn't see anything? What if I, because we all experience things differently. So some people really clearly see things in their third eye or in their imagination. And then some people, that's not their greatest strength. Some people's greatest strength is to really feel it, right? So what I want you to do is trust that your experience, the experience that you had, trust that if it made the shift, if it made an emotional shift, then you did it correctly, right? So some people just experience things more as a feeling and some people more as a visual, and there's no right or wrong. You're beautiful, you're perfect, and you did it exactly as you were meant to experience it, right? So, but I love reading that. Felt my heart open. Awesome, great. Are we ready to continue? Because I have some other really fun, juicy invitations for you, right? But what I love, I'm the feeling type. Okay, perfect. So that probably helped you then if I started saying like feel more into it than see into it. Okay, beautiful. Love that. Thank you for that confirmation. Okay, oops. Okay, so now that you've kind of gone through this experience, now that you've gotten kind of this awareness, right? We've brought a little, wouldn't you say we've brought a little of the blind spot and the unconscious into the conscious? We've shifted things, right? So you can have an actual physiological shift, right? Wanted to cry, but I couldn't. That's totally cool. Awesome. So now I want you to be even more, I want you to be honest with yourself, but you ladies, I want to just acknowledge because you were just so honest with yourself right now. And that's powerful. And I want to just really acknowledge you for those of you that really showed up and did it. And it's okay even if you didn't, but for really just diving in and trusting yourself and just being really raw and honest. And that's just being naked, right? And just allowing yourself that vulnerability. I want to really acknowledge you for that, because that's powerful and that's brave and courageous, right? And so now I want you to be even more, I'm going to ask you to be even more honest with yourself. Would that be okay? Because I'm going to ask you a couple questions and I want you to just check in. No judgment either way, but I want you to just check in with yourself. Okay, hang on. Okay. The first question is, what is it going to feel like for you if everything that you're currently dealing with, your struggles, your challenges, where you're at romantically, emotionally, where you're at in your life, what's that going to feel like if that doesn't change? Just tap into what that's going to feel like for you for a brief moment. And then ask yourself, why hasn't things changed so far? Just getting really real, no judgment either way, but why hasn't anything changed? And I like to say sometimes we don't make major shifts until it's something so painful, right? Until that heart is like, I don't want to feel this anymore. That was me, right? I was like, it was so painful of an experience that's when I needed to make a change. And sometimes we don't make a shift. We don't have the motivation and the inspiration to make that shift until something's just painful enough, right? So I get that that may be a triggering question for you, and I hope so. I hope so, because it was triggering for me. And sometimes we don't shift until things are painful too, right? So does it need to feel worse for you to then be inspired to shift? Are you just kind of at that level where you're like, I mean, it's not quite painful enough. I could hang on to the pain a little bit longer, right? And I kind of laugh at that. I have really high tolerance for pain. I have a really high tolerance for emotional pain. And when I was playing that victim, I allowed people to continue to treat me because I wasn't connected with my value. I allowed that to happen over and over and over again, because I said, I can handle it. No, it's not painful enough yet. I can handle that still, right? I braved through it every single time. Talk about Wonder Woman. That's what it felt like on the inside, because I had a high tolerance for emotional pain. And I want you to have a low tolerance for emotional pain. Nothing should be, right? Like a high bar for your value and low bar for what amount of emotional pain you're going to experience, because my bar for emotional pain was high and my value bar was low. So I had them reversed. So that's why I'm just wanting to just ask you the truthful questions, right? Scared to make a wrong move. Totally. Yep. Some of you are saying, no, it's time. Awesome. Then make that a yes, it's time. Anxiety and fear of success. Okay, totally. And that's honest. I love that. And so with that anxiety and that fear of making a wrong move, so fear of success and fear of messing it up, right? Is that fear painful enough? Because that can only potentially get worse, right? So that's just why we ask. So now, when we're stuck, right? This is common for everybody. When we're stuck, or when we think that we can't like move forward, it's because that we don't have the resources, right? We don't have the resources that we need to actually make that change. We don't know what to do, right? We don't have a clear vision, right? Two of the major reasons why people don't make shifts is because they don't know how to let go of the emotional attachment to it, right? One of the experiences that we did today. But the other one is they don't have the clear vision of where you're going and then what resources to make in order to then make that change in the present, right? So it's like having a key and you have a door and yet you don't know which key. It's like that ring of keys, like, right? Like imagine I like skeleton keys. So it's like, I used to collect those in Sweden, right? And so it was like this whole ring of so many skeleton keys. My mom made me give them away because they wouldn't fit in the suitcase. They were too heavy. Still emotionally wounded about it. But all of those skeleton keys, and yet you don't know which key fits which door. You don't know what resource will get you the door, like get you unlocking the door to then open it to your freedom, right? That's usually why we get stuck. That, and you're not in your body, you don't have the vision for it. But you can't have the vision if you can't open the door, you can't see through the door, right? I hope I gave that analogy. So now I want to ask you, what would be the biggest benefit to you? Like now you get to tap in a little bit to that vision, right? What would be the biggest benefits if what you're currently experiencing, whatever you don't want to be experiencing, right? In your romantic relationships, in your current business, right? In just where you're at in your life, right? I shouldn't say it business like that. Like, or maybe you are somebody, you want that financial freedom. Like you're where you're at and you're like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not getting the guys that I want. I'm not getting what I want in my life. I want to be financially independent, right? But I don't know, right? You don't know all of those things. You have all those fears, all that stuff. So what would it look like? What would it feel like? What would be the biggest benefit to you if all of those things, if there were solutions for those things and that was solved? Let yourself tap into that for a second. What would be possible if you were to align with your actual future soulmate? What would be possible for you then? How amazing would that feel? And my last question is, are you a cycle breaker? Are you that person that is like, I don't want to keep repeating these cycles? I have come down to this planet to break these cycles. There are very specific women who come to me, and like I said, I call them cycle breakers because they're like, I am done with this. I want the life that I see for myself, that I know Spirit is calling me to, that my heart is calling me to, that you're ready to have that life and that love that you deserve. You deserve it. You're already predestined for it, but you don't know how to step into it. Are you that cycle breaker that is like, oh, I want out of this loop? Ready? Yes. Okay. Definitely cycle breaker. Awesome. I'm ready to fly. Oh, that's beautiful. Awesome. Let's break this. Awesome. Do you want to know how? Would that be okay? Can I share with you how to actually do that? Yes. So ready. Great. Okay. Let's see if my PowerPoint works. Oh, wait. I gave you more. I love it. I love how many yeses are coming through. I can feel all of your energy. The caterpillar. I don't want to be the caterpillar. You want to be the butterfly. Awesome. Are you ready to learn how to master your masculine and your feminine alchemy? Hello. I didn't have that mastered. The soulmates match, right? And create the abundance that you desire, right? To dive into that divine feminine that I know that you are, right? That I know you've also been challenged with, because yes, unfortunately, we still live in a man's world and we got to compete that, but good God, don't take away the feminine. To run that super strong masculine and get things done in your life, but keep your solid, radiant, feminine all the way alive and have that balance. To then also, when you can have that balance, attracting those guys that make you feel sexy and safe. Do you want to learn other techniques like these deep hypnotic meditation tools so that you can manifest things faster? Because there are certain secrets to visualization, to how to manifest faster, and how to set yourself up with your subconscious mind, that you tell your subconscious that you already have it, so then you don't have any drive around it, and then you procrastinate, right? We think that like, oh, how come we're procrastinating? It's because you're visualizing something in a way that is knocking out all of your energy. So would that technique and tool be beneficial for you, so then you can manifest like that and know how to set yourself up with that motivation, right? And I like to say inspiration more than motivation, right? To know how to raise your vibration so now you can magnetize what you want, create that financial abundance, right? And that financial independence, be the type of woman that, yes, every man wants to marry. Or the one that if you are in a relationship, that he wants to stay married to you. I know there's still things about him on how you want to stay married to him, but we're not talking to the boys. I'll get to them later. I'm talking to you. So you want to stop attracting the guys if you are single, right? That just want to have sex with you. I had this conversation the other day too. And it's like, they just want to have sex with you and they're not seeing who you really are. They're not seeing your light, right? You want to have the guys that can't resist being around you. Awesome, definitely. Great, okay. I'll stop on my rant. So my invitation to you, if that would be okay, is the Reviving Radiance Mastery course that literally I have built for this exact thing, for all of the ladies just like you who are cycle breakers, who came to me with all of the same problems, that I've been watching all of your questions on all of our lives and seeing what needed to be shifted, and then giving you those resources. And I created it because this is the exact process that I went through, that I had to do for myself to really create that shift, right? So that then literally you can release yourself from that past, because there is a secret to letting go, right? And we dive into that. You learn that in the mastery course. There's an absolute secret to it. And then you can actually revive your feminine life force, because all that energy that's been drained from all these different experiences, now once you can release all of that, now you can learn and then build and then reignite that feminine flame, right? Because she's there, but she's like a little tiny. Mine was tiny. So I know what you're feeling with that, right? And then you can actually create who your next version of yourself is, and then unleash it like a badass babe on the world, then actually create the life and the love that you actually deserve, right? So in this whole mastery course, it's a 6-week course. That's it. But you're going to literally master these 3 topics. Releasing the emotional weights of past toxic relationships, right? So that then you can be free to be open and trust again, right? To magnetize that feminine flame, so that then you can possess the power, right? And set yourself up for healthy relationship success. This is in your romantic relationships. This is your relationship with yourself. This is your relationship with everybody else. And then reinvention, we create literally a whole soul plan makeover, right? This is where you get to create your personal brand. And whether you then set that up to then be financially independent, we cover all of that as well. So it's creating this personal brand, which is your version of yourself, your future version of yourself that you haven't even stepped into. And then we actually lay it into your subconscious mind. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, right? So it's a pre-recorded course. You get me too. I'll get into that. There's literally 19 different video modules. So every week that then you can watch at your leisure. You get the first week, there's 3 different modules. Second week, 3 different modules, right? Week 4 is the one that has 4 different modules. But total, this is all given to you that, like I said, you can watch during the week at your leisure, all of these different 19 different course video modules. And I'm such a PowerPoint nerd. 18. Oops, there we go. Hi, honey. I'm going to turn off your video. But I love you. Okay, so you get 19 different downloadable, the blueprints, the templates, everything that you're going to need to absolutely make this happen and like do the actual work, including, oops, that extended of the power pyramid that I told you about. That's the blueprint for that. So everything that you're going to need to know to get you through all these different levels, it's actual coursework. This is like, I'm not playing over here. And I love it. So just to give you kind of like a rundown, and there's still more in this as well, but just to give you a rundown of what's happening in each week, right? We do the karma clearing technique so that you can release past karma and then set yourself up for your future fate, right? Purging your bad habit paradox, that's diving even deeper into the subconscious. All of those patterns, we may have shifted one, like emotional pattern, we dive into the actual patterns that are the reason why you keep attracting certain things. You find them, you shift them. The power pyramid blueprint that I talked about. All of that villain, victim, hero, and then the 3 additional parts that I personally added on to that was missing that targets your subconscious mind. Nobody is talking about that. I know because I created it. So about 99% of this course is all originally my content of everything that I've learned over 15 plus probably years. I don't do math in my head. So week 2, healing the feminine, and then mastering masculine and feminine alchemy, right? So some of you heard me talk about that talk that I presented a couple weeks ago. This is the blueprint for that so that you can find out where your balance is and find out what you need to shift, if anything. The power of that's a little secret, has nothing to do with sex, but it's what women mostly forget that they have in the relationships, in every single relationship. It's not your sexual power. It's a really great power. We know we have it. That's not your greatest power. And then we dive into inner child, because that is part of your ego that everybody's saying get rid of the ego. It has nothing to do. You can't squash your ego. It makes me so frustrated because that's your inner child. And if you do, then you're telling your inner child that you're abandoning it again, right? What it wants is integration. What it wants is love and acceptance, and it wants to be heard. But you got to then do even deeper hypnotic work to then tap into that inner child, find out what it wants, and then integrate it. So then you can skyrocket. Half of the reason why you're staying stuck is because your ego, which is your inner child, is like, like a little kid when it gets all nervous and it pulls on the pant leg of the parents. And it's like, please don't go. Please don't go into that higher version of yourself. You're going to leave me. Because it already feels abandoned because you haven't been paying attention to it. Right? So we dive into shifting that and integrating that. Unlock your love combination. This one, whew, when I found this, and I love sharing this with ladies too, because you understand why all the relationships, like that first love that you fell in love with, that was a certain love combination that you had. And you're going to find out if you're single, you're going to find out your exact strategy on what you need to attract. And if you're with a man, you're going to be able to know your combination so that he can hit those numbers every single time, not just in the bedroom. You know what I'm talking about? So every woman has a specific love combination, and then you can share it with him, right? And like I said, if you're single, then you'll know what you need to make it fit for you. And you'll know why all of the other ones didn't work out. So it's kind of like a combination on a safe, you know, and each number sequence is specific and unique to you as a woman. So when you know what your number combination is, you'll know how to hit it. If a guy comes along and then it's like, okay, he's hitting number 1, he's hitting number 2, it didn't hit number 3, you got to go back to the beginning. It's like when you mess up on the dial, right? And the combination dial, like the old school ones that we used to have in like, the lockers, right? You have to stop, you have to rotate it around again, start all over, and then see if somebody else is going to hit it, right? So you'll find out your exact combination. Central essence and sexual power. That's just an amazing one. And the ladies last, I really, really enjoyed the information in that one. So we're going to talk a little bit about Kundalini, a lot about Kundalini, actually, how to activate that, how to make that reigniting your feminine essence, right? And really tap into that so that can be also another one of your sensual and sexual powers. So yes, you can use it sexually. And when it's not even used sexually, it's still part of your creativity as a woman, right? The Mandorla Blueprint Nexus, that's what I personally created as well. That's my own design for how to really see who you are, who your partner is, what you guys are creating in the relationships, how to keep those separate, how to bring those together so that you basically don't lose your identity in relationships. I get that from so many ladies. I myself did it, right? We get so in that space of nurturing and wanting to take care of them. And even if you're a single mom, you've probably been taking care of the kids and then your man and all this different stuff, whether you're a single mom or not single mom, right? And then you lose like your passion. You lose like who you are and what you're about and what you want to do, right? So when you can see it and when you can position it, and it's really diving into your value system as well. So really getting clear on who you are, what your values are, and then in relationships and in your life and how to separate those so that then you don't get that sense of feeling lost, right? Week 4, motivation mantra system. This is freaking powerful because everybody needs a mantra that then you can repeat. That's part of programming new patterns into the subconscious mind, but it's actually creating your unique list that then is based on your values. So every person's mantra becomes unique to them based on the things that mean the most to you, right? So there's a specific strategy on how we do that. So your mantras are like 100% yours. You didn't go and take them from a book. They mean something to you and your heart and where you're going and what you want to create, to really constantly be reframing that within your own mind. Sacred feminine rituals, 100%. This is like how to get in sync with manifesting. It's the trick with manifesting by the moon. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't. If you don't know it, it's absolutely huge for understanding how the energy works and then how the energy works within your body as well. So we go into chi, we go into biofield. If you don't know what that is, we go into your chakra systems, everything, all the subtle energies, where to find those emotional kind of sticky places and then how to release those. But again, if you don't know where to look, then you don't know how to shift it, right? So I literally break down almost the full energetic structure of you as a woman and then how you can shift all of those different things and then create that for greater manifestations, right? Secret to self-love and self-trust. I'm just going to leave that with that because I think that kind of defines itself, right? So we go into exactly why you lost it and exactly then what you need to do in order to get it back again, right? Self-love, self-trust, they go hand in hand. But if we don't know why we're giving our power away, then we don't know how to get it back again. Maybe you have some concept of it, but I really dive into explaining it on an unconscious level, on an energetic level, and then how to bring you back into power 100% of the time, literally like in 90 seconds. Super easy, but then you can always have it, never leave it again. So I'm going to rip through these really quick. Profitable purpose template. This is my most fun part, right? I love the reinvention stage because this is when you're stepping into you. This is, you get to dive into your deeper passion and purpose. So if that's something that you're unclear about, because I said to myself, you can't go through a transformation if you're still holding on to the past, but then you also need to know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, then you won't have the inspiration to let go of your past in order to then move forward, right? So we dive in. There's a really great blueprint for actually how to discover what your soul is calling you to do. That deeper purpose. How to then also make it profitable, right? We're going to do, yes, a manifestation visualization that nobody talks about. That's the exact strategy on how to set yourself up with that inspiration and motivation. You're going to then create your Wonder Woman archetype, not your hero archetype, but your Wonder Woman archetype. That's your next version of you, and then how to actually integrate it. So that was kind of what I was talking about before. The final last stage is actually another 3-part system, and this is creating your personal soul plan. This is your whole makeover. This is getting into your personal brand. So this is for my cycle breakers who then want to create financial independence, to create that passion and purpose, and then deliver it. So if you're a healer, if you're a coach, if you're a mentor, if you want to like write a book, if you have a project in you that you want to then create and deliver, and creating that personal brand to step into, and the strategies on then how to deliver it. So it's using personal branding strategies and the archetype alchemy and architecture, because there is a way to create a personal brand that then, I call it for the multi-creative. Because if you're that lady who's a cycle breaker, you're also what I call a multi-creative, which means you have multiple different things that you want to do. And you may not know how to do those because everybody's telling you you have to niche them, right? So there's some niching that takes place, but you also can put it into architecture. So there's a way to niche it so then you can actually give all of your gifts, not just one or the other, right? So that 3-part system is your soul self, and you get a clear picture of who you authentically are, what you're here to do. We use the 13 archetype models to set you up for that success. Your soul signature is the 5 keys of that multi-creative that every multi-creative needs to create that brand image for success. Your project, your purpose-based project, the building blocks of that, how to do it, how to set yourself up as an influencer so that then you can offer all of your gifts out. And then finally your strategy, which is making it profitable and then giving it out, and how you're going to actually set that up. So all of that then also comes with the branding or the 11-page soul plan makeover ebook. So this is literally your reinvention ebook. And each of the other pages, all of the other blueprints, you can fit that into the back of this, but this is your reinvention. This is 100% your redesign. So if you're at that place where you're like, I need to just shift and I don't know how to do it. And then once you actually do that, attracting your partner, your soulmate, is going to happen. But it's who you're stepping into and what you're needing to do to create that for yourself first. So it's going to come with those 11 pages and the 6 live Q&A calls with me and the whole group of all of these sisters. I love these bonuses because I was like, how much more can I give you so that you're supported to the level that you need, right? So you get me just like this live at the end of every week. We do a group call. You can choose to, it is video. I'm on video. Some of the ladies chose to be on video. Some of them did not, but I love having everybody show up because you get all of your answers or all of your questions answered. And you can listen to the other questions that the other ladies have. And sometimes then that's like a question you didn't even know that you had, right? Hi, babe. I'm going to turn you off super quick. Okay, so then you actually get lifetime access to all of the modules. One of the other women in the last course, she said, you know, I listened to one of the questions from the Q&As after we had already done week 1 and one of the modules. And then she's like, I realized that that was a pattern that I was operating also. So then she could go back and do that other module again. And because you have lifetime access, I'm a huge believer that learning something once isn't always enough. We need repetition. right? How many times did you try to quit something that was a long-standing habit? Did you do it just once? Or did you need repetition to really lay that in for yourself, right? So you also get the exclusive access to a private Facebook group. It is only Reviving Radiance alumni. So you get the support of privacy and the support of other women who are going through the similar aspects as you. And you get to share and connect. Like I mentioned, you get all the course blueprints and the templates. And most importantly, this was the last thing that I added because it really sets up for the most success and support for women. I didn't always have this support. And it's part of my mission to support as many women as possible and also see other women supporting other women as much as possible, right? So I believe in like no one finishes on their own, right? Like everybody gets to finish together and we're there to support each other. So I thought, wow, what if I could create a really great dynamic so that there was support systems within the course? So not only are you taking the course and then you're with the other ladies who are taking the course, but now you actually get a teammate. So it's either, depending, going to be either 2 or 3 women pods that together, like you're almost your weekly accountability partners, and you check in and you share your experiences and just help empower each other, right? So that's what that's about. Now, you've probably already been watching all the prices, and I'm really real about this, right? Because it's like, value is value. I know the value of this. And I know how much I've then paid to then even learn all of this stuff, right? But this is sort of, you've already been seeing all the prices go through and all that stuff, but this is the true, technically the value of this whole thing, right? And I would guesstimate that you're probably like, okay, that's a lot. And that you would agree that this is the value, right? But then I was like, when I really needed the support, I was like, wow, I don't know if I can do like a car payment to get the support that I need, right? And that was almost like overwhelming. So before you hold your breath, and I'm going to ask you guys to remind to just mute so looking at the bottom left-hand corner, just remember that you're mute, or to mute your microphone. So thank you. So this is the whole value of the course.
Can you hear me, Sarah?
Yeah, will you mind muting?
Yes, okay. I have recently started.
Got a guy on the line. Would you mind muting, honey? And
then
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Great. So this is the value of this whole course, right? And I don't want you to hold your breath. Awesome. So when I needed the support, right? I was like, either way, just cutting through all of it, I was like, I want to be able to share and give as much that I can to you ladies to really get you the shifts that you want. And I was like, this number, I just tapped in and I just did a meditation. I was like, this doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. It's the value. I know it's the value, but it didn't feel good. And I was like, I tapped into almost your energy and like who was going to be on this call and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm going to just do it. And what I did was I just slashed it in half because I'm like, I need to give this. We know the shift that women are coming into and that women right now need so much support, right? And we need to continue supporting each other. So I'm like, all right. Then I sat with this number and I thought, that feels good, but I can probably do better. I can do better for my girls. I can do better for the cycle breakers. I can do better for the ones that are like, yes, oh my God, I want this. And I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm such a yes. And I just like, I need something to shift in my life. And I tapped into that because I remember what that was like for me. And I remember when I put a deposit down for mine and I was scared out of my mind. And yet everything in my heart was like, if I don't shift now, then it's not going to shift. If nothing changes, nothing changes. But I said I couldn't do better than this. So I did it again. And I slashed it into 1997. And that felt good. That felt like, how many amazing, powerful cycle breakers would love this? Does this feel good? I'm very intuitive. I follow spirit. This is what felt really good for me, right? For doing 6 weeks of 19 different mastery video courses to then plus have the 6 group video sessions, right? To then on top of that, the 18 downloadable courses or the course blueprints and all the templates and the 11-page soul plan makeover ebook, all for $19.97, so that in just 6 weeks you can have that full transformation and full reinvention and get yourself on the path of where your future self already is pulling you towards. So you're not going to have that anxiety and that fear that's coming up, because that's your spirit and soul telling you that you're being pulled into the direction of where I know your heart and your connection with your spirit is telling you to go, because that's exactly where I was. So if this is for you, right, I want you to hear a little bit from one of the ladies who was so gracious. I love this woman. She is a cycle breaker. She is a badass, and she is up to amazing things. And I want you just to hear her experience that she went through. Little Miss Sadie. So let me see if this is going to go.
Alexi Sanchez.
I don't know if
It's
it's
a course. Best investment I've had ever. I know you will enjoy it. You will learn from it. You will grow from it. You're going to be more empowered. Your feminine side. It's so important. I had her suppressed so much. And now I'm more feminine. I'm more empowered. My self-esteem, my spirituality, my power days, my relationship with my kids, with my parents, at work, with siblings. I learned the reason why I attract so many narcissists in the past. And what is it? What was my combination lock? It was that. It was how to meditate, how to manifest your power days, your moon days, so many things. My rituals, which are so important. That, and also Sarah has the conference calls. She guides you. She helps you. She's there for you. So you're not going to be alone. So any question you guys have, she'll answer it. And you will work through it. It was an amazing, amazing experience. Not only that, but everybody has asked me, what have you done? Why are you so different? What happened? Are you going to church? Everybody asks me that, because that's how powerful it was I had before. I used to have black hair, went through the change, the makeup, the feminine, the true me. Somebody that I had no idea of what I really wanted out of life, my values, to myself, to my dream. Something that I'm also working with Sarah would be like a book and financials. And it's going to have so many stuff that I need to teach. But that's one of my passions. And I didn't even know that. There's so many other stuff that you will learn. From it, you're going to find your true self. Self-love, self-respect, awareness, and love and compassion. I wish I could say more. Pretty much said not even half of how much it benefit me, but I know it will benefit you in such a way that you will learn, you will grow, and most of all, you're going to heal from whatever it is that you need to heal. I love you.
This woman. This woman gets me every single time, because she's showing up like such a badass. And she has overcome so much, and that's her personal story that I won't share with you. But like, to just see who she's become in just 6 weeks, like I can't take full credit for that. I can't. I know she did the course, but she did the course. She did the work. She implemented every piece of it and just dove all the way in. because she didn't want to keep experiencing what she had been experiencing. And every time I see her and every time I speak with her and every time I watch this video, it makes my heart expand even more, because then I feel like that's fulfillment for me. I feel like I've done a tiny bit of shifting, of supporting somebody to then shift into the life that they really want and get the things that they really want, and to not have experienced the just heartache that she's experiences and it has experienced, and to release all that. So I just wanted to have you hear that. And I love Sadie so much. And maybe even some of you guys have seen her on the Instagram and stuff like that, right? And she shows up and she comes to my meditation classes, and she's so dedicated to leveling up her life and becoming that next version. And I am continuously impressed. So I just wanted to share that briefly with all of you guys so that you could just hear from her experience, right? So if that's calling to you today, right? I want to just say, yes, there's this price, but if there's something that you're like, okay, I want this, and yes, I'm a full yes, and how am I going to make this work? There's payment plans. If this payment plan doesn't quite work for you and you need something else, then let's have a conversation to make it work for you. I'm here for you to support you in whatever way for you to get to that next level, right? So I want you to not pay attention to the payment plan options. If you need something specific to you, then let's talk about that, right? Whatever I can do to then support you in you getting to that next level, that's what I'm about, hands down. And so today, I do have a badass babe, the take action reward, right? Because I believe in when we want to shift with something and we're a yes and we declare it to the universe and to spirit, then the universe and spirit starts conspiring to make those shifts for us. It comes into our vortex and our field to then bring us what we need. Bring us the resources, if that's financially, or bring us the resources from a friend or whoever, and really set us up when we actually say yes and take action, right? So with that fast action, if that's you today, then I'm going to include 30 minutes of an intro call, right? Which means let's figure out where you're at. Let's do a couple shifts ahead of time. And then by the time you end the call, I want to support you with what your next action steps are. So I'm going to do a full hour with you. Cool. Now you've got your soul plan makeover. You've got your strategy. What else is now needing to be shifted? What tiny little tweaks, or how do we support you to then getting it out there even bigger, or whatever that strategy is, right? We're not here to do it alone. We don't have to. We can, but it takes longer. So that's why if this is you, then this action reward is going to expire within 24 hours, right? Because this is the badass babe, yes, I'm a full yes, right? And then how we can actually do that, I'm going to basically put in, which here actually, I'm going to put in for you, where did it go? Hang on, let me pause this super quick because I have, I can't get off of this. Hang on. I'm going to do stop share real quick because I have to, because it's messing up my thing. So if this is you, right? You guys get to see my whole slide now. I'm cheating. All right, where are we? I'm going to put in the chat box. This is the link. Did that go? Can you guys see the link on that? Where are we? Oh, wow, we have so many different messages. Hang on. Technology sometimes is so, there we go. Why isn't it adding it in? Let me try this one. It does this every single, I can see it on my end, but it's not actually adding it in. Why isn't it adding it in? Oh, technology, technology. There we go. Now it's coming through like 4 different times. So the bit.ly one was the short one. I thought if that one didn't work, then I would give you the full one. So either way, those are all the same. Can you guys see those now? Are those coming through? I can see them on my end in the chat box. Yes, now they're coming through. It took like a second. So there's like 4 of them. They're all the same. Let me see. We have 1 yes and we have 2 no's. Nothing. It's super odd. Not on my end. So just give it a second because I'm waiting. I wonder if I put it in there. Hang on. Hang on. There, I think I changed something. Privately. Give it a second and see. You're sharing with everyone? Okay, great. Technology is so funny sometimes. And we're almost in Mercury retrograde, so let me see here. It's like not letting me click to send. This is so on. I have everybody in here. Sorry, guys. I don't know what. It's technology. It's not letting me. Hang on. Can you see this? There we go. How does that work? Yes. Okay, now does the link come through? Okay, posted. Great. Sometimes I wonder with technology, seriously. So thank you, ladies, for the patience with that. Oh my goodness. All right, and yes, we got it. Got him. And Karina shared it. Well, thank you, Karina. I appreciate that. I don't know why it was only going directly to you, but thank you. I appreciate that. We appreciate technology. Smiles to you, girl. Mwah. I'll give you an extra bonus. So, all right, you ladies already saw this, but I'm going to bring it back up. There we go. All right. So if this is you, there we go. Then I want to be able to support you as much as you can. Yes, we got this. Okay, cool. So that's the investment to yourself. This is the investment to you to literally in 6 weeks either have a similar experience to Sadie or see the vision of where you're wanting to go and shifting into that and then just reinventing your life. We're always in reinvention if we allow ourselves to be. But if we're in resistance to it, then that's when all this anxiety and all this fear and all these different things show up. So if that's you, I'm here to support you. And either way, I love all of you ladies. I love you all for showing up today. I love all of you for, I hope that this was helpful too. And yes, we're going to open it up for questions and anything like that. But this is my support for you because Spirit told me that this is what I needed. And then that's what I then shifted everyone else. Whoops. That's my goal, to then shift everyone else, right? And help and bring in whatever, there we go. And help on all those different levels that I can. So I'm going to open it up for questions now, and I'm going to ask, and what are we? I'm 5 minutes over. Okay, so, and I get that as far as time goes, I'll do maybe like a 5-10 minute question. So would that be okay with everybody if we go to like 2:15? I'll keep on track with that. And let's keep the questions primarily towards anything related to this course or the exercise. So I'm gonna go ahead. There we go. And stop share. There we go. And now I can see all of you. Okay. And you guys can still see me, yeah? Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much. Logged onto the chat. Okay. Yeah. And if you guys can't see the chat, then down at the bottom, also please make sure that you're muted. So we're only going to do questions in the chat just to kind of keep it simple, because if too many people open up then the voice box, and then that's going to get really confusing. So leaving your comments or your questions in the chat box, and I can see them right now, and we'll do that for another 10 minutes. So yeah, if you have a question, just making sure that you're muted and that your video is off. I would like to speak to my daughter as well to see if she's interested. Beautiful. Love that. That's like mom and daughter teaming up. That sounds amazing. Awesome. Let's have a conversation about that and see, you know, and I don't know how old she is, but this would be so powerful. I love that you're then that badass mom that's like, all right, like you probably are also feeling like you do this, but then you're helping her set herself up for her life as well. That's super powerful. That's how my mama is. I remember when I went through my first transformational seminar, and my mom was such a stand for me. She's like, I'm buying you this ticket. And I was so in my victim. I was so in my just like, I don't want to. And she was such a stand, and she flew all the way out to be with me and be such a, when I say stand for, it's like she was such a support. And she's like, you don't have to if you don't want to. And I knew in that moment when I was with, my ego was coming up, I had a stomach ache. I was not about going. And I looked at her, and she was in such this like mom, caretaker, nurturer. She was like, you don't have to go. Like she thought I was like getting in pain or something. She was causing pain in me. And I said to myself in that moment, I have one decision. Like she's come out all of this way just to support me in this. And I can either say no, or I can let go of whatever conversation is going in on my mind about like she paid for it and whatever the ego conversation is, because you know those are all limitation games. The money conversation is a limitation game. I know from enough experience and from how many clients I've worked with, whenever they make a decision, the money comes into support every single time. And so with my mom on that day, I was just like, wow, she's such a support for me. And so I said yes. And that set my life on a totally different trajectory. So I love hearing that. Went on that rant, sorry. So thank you, lady. Thank you, Karina. Thank you, lovely. Send me a private message, please, babe. I'd love to connect with you. How to break an attachment with someone who is still in your life and love. Yeah. That's exactly what this course is set up to support you with, 100%. So some of it is the exercise that we worked with today in reframing that reality, but also breaking the attachment with someone is you need to focus on where you're going and who you're becoming and what you're going to step into, so then you can attract the type of person that you really want. Because it sounds like that person, you don't want them into your life. And so you breaking the attachment to someone who's still in your life and your love, that's up to you. And it's the choices that you're making to how you're keeping them in your life. That's what I would say to that. And so focusing on who you need to become. If it's what story you're telling yourself to then of why you need to keep them in your life. And if that's that you don't have confidence, if that's that you don't have vision for where you're going in your future and who you're becoming, then the course would be really supportive for you on that. Let me see. I'm going to go just kind of first come, first serve, just to be fair. So rather than skipping through. So will this work for heartbreak? Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about just this specific exercise that we did today, do it and see how that shifts for you, because you'll experience a shift. So whether you continue to bring in that that emotional heartbreak, right? Because you can, just like a habit, right? You can bring back that conversation until you set yourself up for success to then creating that shift. And part of then whatever, if you have gone through that heartbreak, do you still want to be feeling that, What if you could let go of all of it? What if you could let go of the patterns of where not just that heartbreak came from, but the pattern of what originated you attracting that person into your life to then create that heartbreak? And then set yourself up for a future to then be reinvented on a level that it doesn't matter whether this person broke your heart. You could be like, look at me now. I'm good. Thank you. I have compassion for you for being that person that came into my life to break my heart so then I could shift my life. Let that be your motivation to then getting you to that next level, right? She's in the final year of undergrad. Perfect. Awesome. She's like in that phase of like, where am I going and what am I doing next? And you probably want to make sure, if she hasn't already attracted a guy, want to make sure that she attracts like one from a space of confidence, right? So if you're still deciding on all of this, go ahead and try and use the exercise that we did and put your thumb and your index finger on your pinky finger and bring in your states of confidence. Because I love the cycle breaker ladies who feel confident when they're making a decision, right? Never make a decision from a place of like, we don't want to get into relationships from a place of fear, right? If that fear is going to motivate you to then do something positive for yourself, awesome. Use it for that. But you have a confidence button technique. So if you're still kind of wondering, then hit the confidence button technique and say, if I was making a decision from this standpoint, what would my answer be? Where would I see my life? If I was operating from the confidence standpoint, what choices would I make for my life? What would I do then? That's what I love. Next question. We got 5 more minutes. Okay. How can you help? How can you open up your heart? So there's an energetics of your heart, and there's what you're telling yourself to then keep your heart closed. Everything comes down to the shift within to then have the experience that you want outside. My heart was closed. I was suppressing myself with so many different things because I didn't feel confident. I didn't trust myself either. And so I was closing down my heart because I also didn't have the vision of who I authentically was. I didn't have that connection with who I authentically was, my divine feminine. And I also didn't have the vision of what I wanted for my life. I didn't have a high value system of my value. So of course, everything was set up to then protect me, right? I set everything up to then protect me, including the walls around my heart. So how do you open your heart again? You have to release the things that you're telling yourself, the past wounds, the past experiences, all of those patterns that have been keeping it closed. You have to release that. Then you've got to literally revive the energy that you've lost from dragging all of that energy. And then step into your reinvention and setting that vision for yourself on who you would like to become, the value that you would like to have. It's what your soul and your spirit already know, but you're not having that conversation, right? You're in the protective game, which means you're also potentially in the victim game because you have to protect your heart from something villainous, right? So we want to get out of that loop because I know it doesn't feel empowering for you. So what would be possible for you if you didn't have to do that? That's what Reviving Radiance, the Mastery course is for. We dive into anything from the mental to then the energetic and the spiritual to then setting yourself up on a financial freedom with your passion and your purpose of what your soul's intention is here to do. It's up to you if you want to choose to make that into a business. I highly recommend it. I highly support it. Right? But it's creating that, it is creating a personal brand, and the analogy almost of the personal brand, what you're actually doing is creating the vision of your future self and then stepping into it. And then you just happen to align it with doing the templates to find your deeper passion and your purpose and aligning those together and then taking action around it. And now that you have the balance of your masculine, feminine energy, now you know when to use your masculine, when to use your feminine, how you've been showing up with different masculine, feminine, and why you've been getting stopped. right? So I would also say then with the how to open your heart, like there needs to be a little bit more feminine energy on forgiveness. That's the final thing I'll say onto that one. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, bad relationship, definitely cute. Okay, great, awesome, love that. Thanks, Sheila. Let's see. How can I overcome my fear of getting close to someone? That's Henrik, who jumped on before. I love having some gentlemen on here asking questions. Exactly, because yes, I will eventually do a course for men. So Henrik, I'd say, one, we need to do a session on that because you keep asking that same question. And I love it, and I hear you. And overcoming the fear of getting close, again, what are you saying to yourself to keeping yourself closed off? So it's very much like the other one with your heart is closed. So what are you protecting yourself from? What conversation are you having that you have to protect yourself from that? The world is not scary. People are not scary. We make that up. And then that stops us from really creating the intimacy that we want. But if we're operating with that level of understanding for ourselves, then of course we're going to attract people that will validate that story. So you have a story right now that you have fear of getting close to someone because of past experiences that then you're bringing back into your present. So you're constantly putting your past into your present moment, which is then putting it into your future, and you can't move on. So you keep looping, right? So let's do a deeper session on that, because that's some patterns and some unconscious, it's wounds, right? But it's all unconscious. Okay, we'll do one more. It's 2:15. How can I trust the universe to help me financially if I want to take the next step with you, because I literally have nothing, but I want to make the change for myself? Awesome. Great question. I have personal experience with this as well. When I needed to do something that I was financially scared to do, and yet I knew in my heart, I pushed my confidence button. I knew in my heart, my soul was screaming at me. Everything was saying, yes, I need this. And yet I was like, oh my God, how am I going to make that happen? Scared out of my mind. Absolutely. I had no clue. And I said, that's the defining moment, just like with my mom. I can either continue playing the same old thing, or I can make the new choice and trust the universe and also trust myself. Because when you set that in motion, you energetically tell the universe what you want, but then you also show up. I had to show up. When I needed the thing that was, it was a course. And I knew it was going to shift everything for me. And I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. And like I said, I was scared out of my mind. And I still gave my credit card for it. 100%. So I know that feeling. And it was still the best decision I ever made. Because immediately after that, it just happened. I can't tell you to trust that, because that's the experience of you don't know that you have the wings until you're willing to jump off. I didn't know that I was going to be able to figure it out until I was willing to jump off, until I gave up the resistance and whatever the story was of it's not going to happen, because that was part of what was pushing it away. So I had to say, all right, I'm done with this whole story. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to put a stake in the ground, and then I'm going to figure it out. Because there's always a way to figure it out. 100% always. But if we don't think that we have the resources, then we won't get ourselves out of the loop. So the course is your resource to getting out of your life and relationship loop. You have to get out of your own loop and then actually making the decision if it's correct for you. If it's a yes for you, then I know that you're going to do whatever to then make that happen, because that happens every single time. I worked with a client, and she was scared. She's like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. And I said, and she went to her friend, and she went to then her mom, and all these different people were like, they inflicted their fear onto her. And they were like, oh, I don't know how you're going to do that either. You probably shouldn't do that. And I said, what feels congruent for you? I'm not here to convince you of anything. That's not my job. I'm here to help shift the cycle breakers who are like, I have to do whatever it takes to then break this cycle, because it's so painful right now that if I don't even know, right? That's who I'm looking for. That's the Sadies that I'm looking for. Because those of you who are doing that, you do whatever it takes because you have to. because you have to get out, because there's no other option. It's so painful to stay there. Your hand feels like it's on a burner. You have to get out of the kitchen. You have to. So I said that to a client and I said, what feels congruent for you? She's like, I have to. And I said, great. And literally the very next day, somebody offers her like $100. I think it was her birthday or something. And then all of a sudden, like her job asked her to pick up some more hours. But she had to make the decision first. I had to make the decision first before it lit that fire under my ass, so then I would make it happen. Because I had to. So I'm not here to convince you as to whether you have to. You already know whether it's a have to. If it's not painful enough, then you'll stay there until it is. 100%. You got a higher tolerance for pain. But I can also say you don't have to wait for it to be so painful. We shouldn't have to wait to go to the doctor until we're sick. If we're proactive on our health, if we eat right, if we give ourselves the resources ahead of time, then we don't get sick. You shouldn't have to wait to fix your relationship until it's almost over and broken. You shouldn't have to wait to then finally step into your passion and your purpose until you're almost broke. But if that's where you're at, then it might be painful enough for you. And in which case, then you don't have a choice other than to shift. So if that is you and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, then write me a message and let's have a conversation. Because I'm up to the ones who are, yes, I need to make this happen. I don't know how, but yes, I need to make this happen. Because my spirit and my soul are literally pulling me to, and it feels like a full yes. Then let's have a conversation. That's all. Awesome. So we've gone 5 minutes over. I love all of you. I love the ones of you that stayed. I love everybody that showed up today. And thank you for those of you that stayed to this very end. I hope you got value out of this. I hope you got some really solid techniques that then you can even take home tonight and continue using, right? So I'm always here for you. You guys know my Instagram channel if you want to connect with me, if you want to show up on the lives and all that stuff. So that's every Tuesday. And you can find Instagram. My handle is at Sarah Delane, SERAHDLAINE. Most of you came here from there. So thank you for that. And I love you guys. And keep just connecting with who your authentic soul self is, your feminine. Keep asking the question on how can I get those resources for whatever your next level is, whatever that looks like for you. If that's with this course, awesome. If it's not, then there's some other level for you to constantly then just be reinventing yourself so that you can step into that version of you that then will attract what you really desire and deserve in your life. So it's been a pleasure. I love you all so very much. And thank you again. Blessings. Mwah. Thank you.